everyone. You're welcome to our channel today. This is Family Aspect, and I'm your host, Charles. Today, I want to be sharing something very important with some of us who may be having challenges in remarrying, making the decision to remarry. Okay, that's my area of focus today. And I call it the ex-men and ex-women. And um, there are things that are traceable that may have led to the death of their previous relationship, the breakup that they had, okay? But these things can also be avoided. Otherwise, there will be a repetition of cycle, um, a repetition of events. So there are things that I know that a lot of women are concerned about in trying to remarry somebody who is already married before or who has been married before and is divorced or she's divorced. And we have this challenge of what should we avoid? What are the things that made the marriage, that end the marriage, that didn't make the marriage work, that I can avoid, that you can avoid. So these are the areas I'm looking at on this subject. So I titled it The X-Men, X-Women You Should Avoid. Types of ex-married men, ex-married women you should avoid for a marriage. And this is so important that you know this. So I want to share some of these things with you today. Okay? Now, number one is a man or woman who has been married before and he or she reveals that he is married only after a significant involvement in a second relationship. So he reveals that he is married only after significant involvement in a second relationship with you. Now, she's telling, or he or she is telling you now that she's married before. And the reason he left the previous relationship was because they were in a very bad relationship. The relationship was bad. The relationship, we were unhappy. So that's why we left. Okay, why were you unhappy? Why was the marriage unhappy marriage? Why was the marriage a sad marriage? I don't know. We couldn't just find out. The things was like, oh, we don't know. We're not happy. So we find out we're not happy, and then we decide to leave, split, do things apart. Oh, okay, okay. Because you were not happy, or the woman wasn't happy, or both of you were not happy, so you just decide to walk away. Okay, all right. So what happens to me or you in our relationship tomorrow if we get married? What will happen if we're not happy? You walk away too. Oh, you need to avoid such man and woman. I'm just helping you out because, listen, remember, you will be the one at the losing point. You will always be at the losing point. If you are not in such, you are not in such a relationship, it will save you a lot of energy and emotional trauma. But if you are in such a relationship, you will be at the losing end. Because this guy or this woman have developed an attitude of walking away when things are not going the right way they want. Okay? Avoid such man or woman. Number two, of such kind of ex-husband, ex-wife, or ex-married people that you have to avoid. Now, I'm not saying there's something bad about all of them, but I'm saying you need to protect your next move. You need to protect your next step. You need to know that you're doing the right thing. You want improvement. You want to stay focused. You don't want to keep having, I was married before, I'm married twice now, 3 times, 4 times. I mean, you've been married, counting numbers of times you've been married to a man or a woman. It's not a good thing. It's not something you want to just keep doing. So what? You must look out for something that you have that will not make you have a reputation of such event in your life. So another man or woman, ex-husband or ex-wife that you have to avoid, not to marry, you have to avoid them in marrying these people, is those whose past relationship failed solely because of their partner's faults. You say, well, it was James' fault. It was Marian's fault. It was Helena fault. That they were the one. He was the one. Okay, what did you do? I don't know. I didn't do anything. Um, okay, so you pass blame on one person of the marriage. That's terrible. There was nothing he could do to make the marriage work. There's nothing she could do to make it better. So the conclusion is the girl was bad. The woman was bad. The man was bad. The man was wicked. He was this. So all the blame goes to one person in that relationship that didn't work. So if that is what he reveals or she reveals to you about their past relationship that didn't work, you need to be careful. Those are the things you need to avoid. Remember, unless the reason of the breakup or of the divorce is cheating, greed, and abuse. You see, cheating, greed, and abuse, unless that is the reason. It takes two to cause the death of a relationship. It takes two. For a relationship to die, it takes two people to make it happen. It doesn't happen by one, because if one person's relationship, emotional attachment is dying, the person can help to resurrect it. The person can help to restore it. But if both of you make it happen, that it didn't work, then it's both of you should be blamed. So if I come to you and say, well, the man comes to you and say, well, my ex was so bad, she was never understanding, and he was never, and all this kind of gist, and then pass blame only on him or her, then you need to avoid such man, because it will happen to you. He or she would do it to you, and that will be it. You don't want that reputation. Okay? Another woman, ex-man or ex-woman, you should avoid to marry. You should avoid to marry, because I'm dealing on the series of preparing for marriage. So I need to touch every area that is concerned. So here is an ex-woman or ex-man who has been married before. Probably got divorced or separated, or he or she a widow. The ex-husband, ex-wife has passed on, but they want to remarry. This is the subject I'm dealing here. So here, he says things like, if you can't do this much for me, if you don't love me, that and that and that, or you're not doing that and that and that because you don't love me, or you are not helping in such and such and such because you don't love me. So he or she uses emotional manipulation. He or she uses emotional manipulation to make you do things. You see, you want to avoid such person. These are things you clearly aren't comfortable with. There are things that everyone are not comfortable with. There are things my wife she's not comfortable with. There are things that I am not comfortable with. If I introduce it, for example, I try to say, okay, let's do this. And she said, no, I'm not comfortable with it. So I adjust, I adapt to it. For me to go about it and manipulating her to make her do it, that would be very wrong. That would be very wrong. It could take some time for me to adjust. That's right. That's what a relationship is all about. We are here to adjust to each other and make things work. So if I'm going to find a way to be manipulating you and say, well, you didn't help me because you didn't love me. You didn't ask you to do that. I asked you to do this because you didn't do it because you didn't love me. All such a manipulation, trying to get you forcefully to do things. There are some practices that goes on in our sexual lives, okay? And then we find that some men are making their wife, or they try to make their ex-wife to do certain things that they were not comfortable with in the bedroom. And now, you are in that relationship and is trying to make the same thing happen to you, you got to run because the marriage is about to go down the drain again, and you don't want that to happen. So be conscious of emotional manipulators. They are there everywhere. So watch out for that. Now, another ex-man or ex-woman that you must avoid for marriage. If you want to marry these people, there are things you have to, these traits, these things is what you must see, look out for to avoid them. A man or woman that hates your ex more than you do. Probably they've asked you a question, how did it happen? What happened to your relationship? How did it end? And then you start explaining these things, he did this and did that. And he says, really? You mean he could do that to you? You mean she could do that to you? Oh my God! And then he began to express so much emotional hatred toward your ex. I know most men have that kind of thing. But when it happens or such thing is expressed, it shows that they are very controlling. It's a signal of a controlling person. And you must avoid anyone who has a controlling issue in marriage. You got to run away. These things I'm sharing with you, they will help you if you will just take note of these things. And you'll be amazed how you will save yourself having to be divorced the second time, or having to be divorced the third time, or having to get into the wrong marriage again. So another man or woman, ex-woman or ex-husband or ex-wife that you will avoid in your life, you want to avoid this, is the one who hates hates his own ex to the point of looking forward for a revenge. He's looking forward to take revenge. For example, a man has been divorced, but what happened was that social things happened in a marriage. So the man is so angry now that he wants to take revenge. He wants to do something hurtful to that woman. He wants to try and destroy the woman's life. This practice is common among women. A man leaves and they are apart. They are parts of the relationship. The relationship is separated, or probably they are divorced. And then at the end of the day, the woman wants to fight back. The woman wants to do everything to make sure the man goes down the drain. Such person, avoid. Avoid such person. Don't ever get involved with such relationship with any man of that kind of character, of that kind of nature, or any woman with that kind of character, of that kind of nature. It will destroy you. Because they'll get to you. They'll get to you. When it comes to your turn, they will get to you as well. So you don't want that. So if a woman seems revengeful, if a man seems revengeful, remember that they could go against you when you are in that relationship with them. So if your relationship doesn't work and things turn out sour, guess what? Revenge is what they will resort to. And revenge is not healthy emotionally. It's not an healthy emotion. So nobody should have that in them. It's wrong. If they do, run away. Okay? So another person that you must avoid. Oh, I wish I can. Maybe time will permit me. A person who treats his subordinates in derogatory manner. If your partner is treating you in derogatory manner, be it in the office or anywhere, or he treats someone around you in a derogatory manner, that means mistreating people, disrespecting others. It could be your office, your colleagues at work. It could be your friends. It could be a waiter. You guys went to eat, and then he's disrespecting, derogating this particular waiter, or even a maid. Avoid that person. Avoid that person. That's not being kind. You can't marry that kind of a person. Okay? It's very clear you can't marry that kind of person. Run away. Now, if a man or woman who asks you, are you one of those feminist types? Are you one of those feminist types? Okay, let me be precise here. Let me be very precise. A man is not being a feminist himself. A man not being a feminist himself can be a serious deal breaker. Okay, so if you are looking forward to a well balanced relationship with logical uh, turn of events, here's what you understand that is very serious. That here's what you should do. Um, the man is asking you, are you one of those feminist type? That means a man not being a feminist himself, he's telling you he is not a feminist. You need to understand. He asks you, are you one of those feminist type? And there you go. Uh-oh. That's a red flag right there. What he's saying to you is, I'm not. This is for ladies now. I'm not, he's saying. So what? You want to watch out. That's a serious deal breaker there. So if you are looking forward to a balanced relationship, then watch out. That is something you should look out for. Time will not permit me to explain all of this, but I'm giving you these nuggets so you can expand on them and work on them yourself. Okay, it's very important. And if there are too many, here's a relationship you're trying to get into another marriage, and this person or this woman is saying, this man is saying, if there are too many, there in his every statement he makes is these should statements always coming on like you should, you must. Every line of instruction is like you should, you must, you have to. Okay, okay, all right, I understand. That's so controlling. Yeah, you don't want that kind of man. You don't want that kind of woman in your relationship. It will get you into emotional wreck. You'll be emotionally wrecked. Believe me, you don't want that. Now, each of these things I've mentioned today apply to both genders. Don't forget, each of these things I've mentioned, they are all red flag that is jumping to conclusion and determining to a relation that this relationship is not going to work. So you must understand that these are logical things that you have to look at for. Okay, you have to look at for. Don't run into your emotion. Don't let your feelings, your emotion, drive you into such conclusion to make it a wrong decision again. All right. Now, I'm not saying everyone is perfect. I'm not saying you're going to meet it's possible to meet. You're going to meet a perfect person. We all have flaws, but one thing is certain is we can all make things work. We can all amend everything in our lives. So we cannot amend the whole thing. We can change. We can make things happen if we make up our mind to make things happen. So it's okay not to be in a relationship with a perfect person, okay? Unless he or she can accept the logical arguments and other things that may come in. Because there are some people, they can't accept logical argument at all. They can. All right? So, what are you going to do? You can't change them. All right? You can't change them. You can't force them to change. So, what are you going to do? Find a way to make peace. So follow these steps, follow these procedures to finding the next man or woman, ex-man, ex-woman that you want to marry. So you're watching this video, you'll be ex-married, ex. So that's fine. You want to marry again? Wonderful. But these are the things you must look at for in order to have it happen again. All right? So if you've been enjoying this video, subscribe to this channel, like it, share this video with those you love. And guess what? Hit the thumb up button again and again. Hit it. All right? If you hit it once, wonderful. And I thank every one of you for watching. And share this video with those you love. And I'm going to see you again in our next video soon. But as you're preparing for marriage, ensure you take these things seriously. Thank you.